How's it going, guys? It's Diego from the Foot and Fist Sports Network, back again to break down some Premier League action. It is week 6 of the Premier League, and as always, we have some great football to look forward to. The first match we're going to break down is West Ham versus Tottenham. It is a London derby, and unfortunately for West Ham, I don't see them getting anywhere near a result in this match, because if there's one thing that we learned from their match against Man United at the beginning of the season, it's that they have a very hard time breaking down teams when they only play with one striker up front. Because of the fact that Chicharito is a poacher, you can't really rely on him to break up play or at least hold up play, get his teammates involved. He's not that type of striker. And playing against Tottenham, I don't expect West Ham to play with a lot of attacking players. They're more than likely going to go out there and try to hit them on the counterattack. And it's just hard to really do that when you have a player like Chicharito up front, because he's just not capable of slowing play down and really getting the team involved and helping the team come up the pitch. He's just not that type of player. So I expect them to really get overrun unless they play with like Andy Carroll up front and have Chicharito on the bench. But I'm not even sure if Andy Carroll's fit. I don't really know if he's actually been playing lately. I don't think I've seen him in a highlight reel since. I haven't seen West Ham play in the last couple weeks, like live, but I don't even remember seeing him in highlight reels. So I don't know if he's going to be playing. If they put Andy Carroll up front from the start, then maybe they have a little bit more of a chance, but I just don't see it happening. I see Chicharito being in there, and I just see Tottenham really running them over and getting quite a few goals. I see this being a 3-0 win for Tottenham. I was going to go 3-1, but I just don't see what West Ham can possibly do to break down a Tottenham defense that is generally really good. A lot of times Tottenham fail to score just because of like the Wembley curse and stuff like that, but generally their defense is almost impregnable, and I just don't see West Ham, a team I've been struggling against, even the small teams, being able to really do anything against a defense that good. The next game is Southampton versus Manchester United, and Southampton have got to decide whether they want to play Van Dijk or not, because he played last week and he played decently, but he hasn't been playing other than that throughout the season. And this is the type of game that Southampton need their best players to be playing, because how the hell is that defense supposed to hold Lukaku down without Van Dijk? You know, Van Dijk alone might not be able to stop Lukaku. What about without him? What can Southampton possibly do without their best defender and easily their best player on that team? Probably not a whole lot, especially when you have Martial, Rashford, Mata, Mkhitaryan. There's so many really good players in our offensive lineup that are gonna really go at Southampton. And without Van Dijk, I don't see how they possibly stand a chance at stopping us. Even with the guy, like I said, I don't think they're gonna be able to. But with him, they have a bit more of a chance. Regardless, I just don't think that they have the offensive threat to really threaten anybody. We've seen them go have quite a few goalless games where they aren't able to even score against some of the small teams. So I just don't see them doing a very good job against us. And maybe at St. Mary's they'll do a bit better. But if you look at their home record, it's not that great. Like, there was a period, I think it was like 3 years ago, when they had a great team, that they were looking like a really, really solid team at St. Mary's. But since then, they haven't really been doing a whole lot at their home stadium. So I just think that United are going to go out there, and having so much momentum behind them, having won 3-0 last week against, 4-0 last week against Everton, having won 3-1 or was it 4-1? 4-1 against Burton the other day, and having done so well in every single game except for that Stoke game where Stoke had a tremendous match. I just think the momentum is on our side. Lukaku's going to score a goal. Martial's going to score a goal. Probably Rashford once again. There's just so much power in this team, so many goals so far. And I expect that to continue against Southampton with either a 2-0 win or a 3-0 win. I'm not too sure I'm going to go with 2-0 just because I'm going to be a little bit conservative in this one. Then we have Stoke City versus Chelsea, and I think it's going to be a really, really good game and possibly the best game of the weekend, because Stoke City have shown in quite a few matches that against the big teams, they really show their quality. They beat Arsenal, they drew 2-2 with us, and they've had some other really good games as well. So there's a good chance of them going against Chelsea, showing their best colors, and getting a result against the Blues, against the reigning champions. Especially because of the fact that now Chelsea are going to be missing their #1 center back, because Gary Cahill, he might be back. He's not that great. Let's just be real. Even when he is playing, he's not that great a center back. Azpilicueta is a left back, adapted to being a center back, so he does his job well, but he isn't exactly a specialist in that role. And then who else is there? I mean, there's Rudiger, who's a decent bench player, but nothing special. So I think that they are going to struggle in this match defensively, which they always tend to struggle a little bit lately. And Stoke City, having a player like Shaqiri, who is just really good at scoring some wonder goals. Also, you have Jesse Rodriguez, who has been looking like a phenomenal player in the Premier League. I think they're going to cause a lot of problems for Chelsea, especially because Marcos Alonso likes to go forward very, very much. So if Jesse Rodriguez can find enough space behind him, and also maybe on the other side behind Victor Moses, then there is a chance of them exploiting some space and hitting them on the counterattack. And I do see this going 2-2, much like the Manchester United game. I just think that Stoke City are a very, very hard team to beat, especially at home, which they are at home at the Britannia Stadium. And I just think that they're going to go out there and give their all, and they're going to really put Chelsea on hold when it comes to getting some 3 points. And especially because you have to consider that Chelsea play a very physical game, and Stoke City are very, very physical. So I think that they're going to be able to match Chelsea in terms of physicality. Definitely not in terms of quality, but they're just going to outdo them in terms of drive and in terms of determination. And I don't think they're going to beat Chelsea, but a 2-2 draw I think is a very, very solid result for them. Everton versus Bournemouth is a game between two teams that desperately need some points. Bournemouth, before winning their last match, they were on a 4-game losing streak, and they desperately need to continue this run of wins and desperately get themselves some big points. And Everton are also a team, man. They have been losing some games left and right here. They lost 3-0 against Spurs, 3-0 against Atalanta in the Europa League, 4-0 against United, and now they have a chance to turn that around against a team like Bournemouth, who also just haven't been looking very, very good this season. I think that Everton should go out there and win, but the problem with Everton is that they just seem so damn slow when it comes to building up play. And when you have a player like Wayne Rooney, you have to rely on him getting space in the box, because he isn't the quick player he is anymore that he used to be. He doesn't have those reactions anymore. You have to really be able to provide him with good passes, good balls near the goal, and expect him to finish those. But if you don't give him those passes, if you don't give him that good service, he's not going to be as good as he should be. Sigurdsson needs to really improve and play like the player that we used to see with Swansea. But it kind of rings my bell, because like when he used to play with Tottenham, he had the same problem. You know, when he's not the number one guy on a team, or maybe he's not like a lot better than everybody else on the team, he doesn't shine as much as he does when he's on a small team. And that's normal, because when you're on a small team and you're that good, you tend to just look amazing compared to the other teammates on your team. But you've got to perform at the level of your teammates. And at Everton, he should be the best guy. He should maybe not be much better than, say, Wayne Rooney or some other people there, but he should definitely be their number one player, especially attacking. And he simply hasn't been providing that type of quality of football for Everton, and they desperately need him to do that if they want to succeed. And I do think that Everton are going to win this game 1-0, but it's definitely not going to be easy, because Bournemouth, they still have some attacking threats with Defoe, but I just think that right now Everton are going to need a win, and they didn't look that bad against United. They just conceded, like a lot of other teams have done this season. They conceded quite a few goals at the very end, like one after the other, and that's what happened to them. It's happened to quite a few other teams, like I said, so it could have just been the fact that United pile on all game long, and once they scored that second one, it was just over, because Everton pretty much collapsed. And I think Everton can definitely go out there and win this game. This game that I'm about to talk about right now is vital for both of the teams involved, and that is Burnley versus Huddersfield, because this is a game between two teams that are without a doubt going to be involved in a relegation battle. I mean, Huddersfield just come up. They are looking decently, but I think their run is pretty much already over. They had a few games early on. I think it was like 3 games where they were undefeated. But still, you know, in this league, once the teams start to figure out how to defend against you and how to counterattack you, you really have to have a plan B, and I don't think Huddersfield have it. They didn't spend enough money in the summer to attract the good enough players to really be able to compete in this league at the long haul, and I mean compete for like survival. And I just think that they're going to have a hard time even surviving, let alone finishing like top 15. So I think that, you know, Burnley, having been in the Premier League longer than them, having some better players than them, really are going to have a good time, especially because at home, they have one of the best records that you can think of. Like, I think since like the beginning of 2016, they have won as many home games as Manchester United, and they've won one less than Manchester City. That's actually really, really, really impressive. Like, you wouldn't expect that from Burnley. And United haven't had a great time at home in the past couple of years, but still, you know, to be able to have won that many games is insane at home. So hopefully, you know, Burnley, for their sake, will be able to continue that run. I definitely think that Huddersfield could go out there and get a goal, but I just don't see it happening. I think that Burnley's defense is going to hold up, and at home, I think that Burnley, with their great record, are going to win this game 1-0. Crystal Palace and Roy Hodgson's debut look like they're about to get absolutely butt-fucked, because they're taking on Manchester City, who are in tremendous form. And Crystal Palace, even without Roy Hodgson, I don't think they would have done anything here because Roy Hodgson only makes them worse. But I just don't see them doing absolutely anything in here. Maybe down the line, Roy Hodgson will get them at least to being okay. But right now, in his debut match, he's just going to take a beating, man. He's going to take an absolute beating. Manchester City are going to go out there and absolutely crush them. Agüero and Gabriel Jesus in basically what is the first attacking partnership in a major team that I can remember in who knows how long, man. It's probably like Berbatov and Rooney. That was probably the last time that we saw an attacking striker partnership that really was in a major club, and they are looking really, really good. And they obviously aren't the traditional type where you had a big, tall power player alongside a quicker player with more technique. This is a more like two very quick players who switch around, go deep into play, bring in center midfielders and stuff like that, and also attack space a lot more than any other striker you could think of. That's more like what they do. So it isn't like necessarily the traditional sense of attacking striker partnership, but still, you know, they are a partnership, and they are looking tremendous. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, they both have, like, the best goals per minute ratio in Premier League history. So that is amazing. That is amazing, and they are looking tremendous, and they're definitely going to push United for this title until the very end of the season. It's going to be a tremendous season between Guardiola and Mourinho. And I do think that, like I said, City are going to go out there, be way too strong, too many goals in them, and Crystal Palace's defense has just been shaky at best, and they're going to concede 4 goals in this one. I can see this 4-0 easily. Maybe Crystal Palace will get 1 goal because City's defense doesn't look very good. Realistically, they concede a few more than they should, but still, I think that against Crystal Palace, that shouldn't be a threat. They will win 4-0. Swansea versus Watford is an interesting game because Swansea definitely need to get some points, and Watford have been showing that they can compete with some of the good teams, so I think they should be able to have a really good game against Swansea. I'm not going to go too deep into this one because Swansea just haven't really shown anything that you can really discuss. You know, ever since they brought in Renato Sanchez, everybody expected them to do quite a bit better, but he hasn't really shown his quality in the Premier League, and I do think that he has the talent to definitely do well, especially in a team like Swansea. He should be the star. I don't know how well he's going to be able to do this season with the Swans. I think that Watford are going to be too good for him. They have brought in some really good players, and they have been showing a lot better football than Swansea have this season. So I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Watford and taking down Swansea at home, especially because if Watford start to struggle, Swansea is a rival team among those teams that could possibly be struggling for relegation. So it would be a solid win for Watford to beat Swansea away from home. Next up, we have a barn burner in Leicester versus Liverpool. Two teams that concede a lot of goals, but they also score quite a bit. And they actually play similar styles. You know, Leicester like to counterattack, like to let their opponents have a lot of space on the ball, have a lot of time on it, and then counterattack the shit out of them with pace, with Vardy, with Okazaki, with Mahrez. That's their type of game. And Liverpool play a similar type of style with the gegenpress. They press very high up the pitch, try to make the defenders make a mistake, and that probably will work against Leicester because Wes Morgan is not confident on that ball at all. Maguire doesn't seem very good on the ball, and in general, their defense can make quite a few mistakes. Leicester do have quite a few mistakes in that team. And I do think Liverpool are going to have a hardish time keeping goals out of their own net because Leicester City are also going to be counterattacking the shit out of them, and I do think that Vardy will score in this one. I just think that both teams defensively are very weak, so it's going to be a matter of which team scores more. That's exactly what it's going to come down to. And I think it will finish a 2-2 draw. Like I said, man, it's going to be a close one, it's going to be a fun one, and I just don't think that either one of these teams have what it takes to really stop the other. Now we have a game between two newly promoted teams, Brighton versus Newcastle, and they have been having two very different trajectories this season in the league. Newcastle are on a 3-game winning streak, looking actually pretty good. They haven't been playing tremendous football, but they're playing decent football, and they are continuing to get results. Rafa Benitez is clearly basically putting them at a level that they have never been in like the last probably 5 to 6 years. He's really turned this team around. Brighton, on the other hand, like we all expected, are having a very, very hard time getting any results whatsoever. They didn't spend enough money in the summer to bring in Premier League proven players, and it's really costing them. They haven't won. I think they've won 1 game all season, and I just don't see that really changing this weekend and probably even this season at all. They might get a few wins, but I don't see them really doing anything in general. That's really going to help them get out of this. I think they're probably going to finish last in the league, unfortunately for them. I think the Newcastle are going to go out there and get a nice little 2-0 win. I just think that right now they've been showing that they are a much better team. They are a Premier League team right now. I mean, they realistically always should have been, especially because they do have some players that are Premier League proven, like they have Jonjo Shelvey, they have Gale, who is definitely a good scorer. They have quite a few players in that team that are pretty good. So I think that with Rafa Benitez, who is able to really get a lot out of mediocre players, this is a perfect time for Newcastle. And if they manage to keep Benitez, only good things will come to them. Last up, we have Arsenal versus West Brom, which could possibly be a bore fest, but probably not because Arsene Wenger always does something against smaller teams that pretty much turns out to be a fuckfest for them. They always tend to blow this shit, and I see this happening once again. West Brom, away from home, are masters at putting teams under pressure in terms of just physicality. And Arsenal are a team that always crumbles under physicality. Yes, they are going to be a much more technical team and a much more skilled team than West Brom, but if West Brom can beat them up a little bit and make it hard for them to score, make it hard for them to do anything whatsoever, then it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, and they always seem to struggle against a team like this. I see it going 1-1. I just don't know if West Brom are going to be able to get that goal, but if they do, then they will not concede more than one, and Arsenal are going to have one hell of a hard time. I don't know what to expect from Arsenal. Like, if Sanchez plays, and they have a bit more of a chance because he's so explosive and stuff like that, but if he doesn't, it's going to be a hard one. And Welbeck might play a key factor here, but I don't know if he's injured. I remember him falling over that Arsenal game, him having a groin injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, and if he's going to be out for this game. I suspect he is. So if he doesn't play, that's going to be a big problem because his physicality, his pace, and just his hard work in general is a huge factor for Arsenal against a physical team like West Brom. And without him, they're going to have a hard time because as good as Alexis Sanchez is, as hard as he works, he's not that strong physically. He's just not going to be able to topple one of those center backs for West Brom and one of those defensive midfielders as well. It's going to be a tough one for Arsenal. And I do see it going 1-1. That would be a hell of a result for West Brom, who are a pretty good team. They play boring-ass Tony Pulis football, but you cannot deny it. They get some good results. Alright guys, that is it for the video. Please let me know in the comments section down below what you think is going to happen in each of these matches. Do you agree with me or do you think I'm insane? Let me know in that comment section. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please soccer kick the shit out of that like button, Pride style. And definitely, if you want to, share the video. That's extremely helpful, and I'm extremely grateful to anybody who does that. I will be starting a Patreon very, very soon because my man Steve Bushy, shout out to the Bush one once again, has been asking me for quite a while to start a Patreon so he can donate some money to me every month and help me improve this channel, like getting a green screen, getting maybe a better computer down the line. This computer is fine for what I do, but it is a bit slow editing and things like that. So once I start to develop this channel a little bit more, I would definitely love to upgrade and get some better equipment. And if any of you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon when it does come out or donate, I would be very, very thankful, and I would definitely be rewarding the people who do that with some special videos and some special prizes and stuff like that. So thank you so much guys for watching and enjoying, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I've been Diego from the Sports Network, and I'll see you in the next video.